It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and Cece Hub.
Welcome to another amazing episode of EdTech Mondays Nigeria show. I am your host again, Chinyelu Akpa, and it's good to be back here. Today, we'll be continuing our conversation on the role of technology in advancing gender-based education. And with me today, I have a very amazing guest. Our guest today is a legal practitioner and specialist in child forensic interviewing. Currently, this guest serves as the CEO of the Cece Yara Foundation Child Advocacy Center, where she leads efforts in victim advocacy and support, addressing the needs of children, non-offending families, and child protection professionals. Her career spans diverse sectors, including banking, private legal practice, and developmental organizations such as the Women Consortium of Nigeria and the British Council's Security, Justice, and Growth Program. She has also consulted for the British Council Safer Schools Initiative. Our guest has undergone specialized training as a forensic interview faculty member through the Zero Abuse Project, Child First Training Organization, USA. Join me today as I welcome Bisi Ajayi-Kayode today. Hello, Bisi. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good.
I hope you're well.
Sure.
You have quite an impressive bio. Great. So let's dive right in. So in very simple terms, what does gender transformative education mean to you?
Gender transformative education means removing the negative stereotypes that enforces power imbalance of men and boys above that of girls and women. And it kind of tries to enforce the sustainable developmental goals like Target 4.7, so creating a safe and nurturing environment for all. Transformative education is not only for the hour, because the school is a socialization hub for students, is to create an environment where children can bring out their full potentials, where they will not be barricaded by obsolete laws and policies, negative sociocultural norms, and it's also to bridge the digital gap.
Thank you for this very good introduction explanation. So, what tends to happen when education is enforced without that gender lens, or when education happens without the gender lens?
Okay, it kind of accelerates gender disparity, which escalates to violations of fundamental human rights. The only right you have is the one you can enforce by virtue of the social contract you have with the society. And once you cannot enforce that, you are marginalized, you are repressed, and you are suppressed. That's why we're asking for transformative education, because children come in various sizes and colors. You have children that are graphic learners. We have children that are auditory learners. So every form of education deployed should be tailor-made to the needs of each child, so as to bring out the potential for that child. And then where there are hiccups in the child's development, for example, if a teenage girl gets pregnant or a teenage boy gets into drugs, he or she should not be deprived of the opportunity of being reinstated back,
which is what we typically say.
Back to school, to avoid that stigmatization. So that's where gender transformative education comes in. It looks at the risk factors for each gender and kinds to prevent the risk from happening, and if it does happen, to mitigate the impact. If a child has to drop out of school for 1 or 2 years who haven't gotten pregnant, he or she should be reinstated. It's better she finishes the school late than that. Yeah. And then poverty has its own its own impact. If for any reason a child is not able to start school on time, either due to poverty or due to some disabilities, he or she should be restated back and should not be discriminated against, because there are some laws and policies. Okay, if you reach such a particular age, you should not get employed, you cannot go to the school again. No, that should be removed. You should look at the background, the push and the pull factors, and bring out the best in fulfillment of the fundamental human rights of the child.
So when you introduce technology into the mix now, does it help to accelerate, gender transformative education, or does it amplify some of these, little innuendos and nuances that you have mentioned?
No, I think technology it kind of accelerates gender transformative education, because at the click of a button, the child's orientation is enlarged, it's expanded. You're exposed to different opportunities, different platforms, although there should be control measures. And it brings out the individuality of the child. It reinforces the child's sense of belonging to the society, a right to participation. So I think technology plays a very vital role. We can't say because there's some negative innuendos out there and restrict them, because now these days, if you are not IT literate, you're as good as an illiterate. So it gives them, and the exposure online is more digestible. You're exposed to various platforms of teaching that are being relegated to the regular, classroom house, and you can see, okay, this was our children are taught. We have different examples in Asia, in Ghana, Ethiopia, different forms of learning. We've seen clusters where children from marginalized zones, so kind of semi-classroom structures are set up, maybe even in farmlands, in community, basically in vocational training skills. And I know here, I think there's an organization here in Lagos. There's a particular basic educational training for girls that have dropped out, or for boys that don't have the means or wherewithal to go to school on time so that they can catch up with their colleagues. So I see technology as a platform. Yes, especially we all appreciated technology, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown. Somewhere what we thought could not have happened before. Online medical consultation, online classes, the Google Classroom, the breakout sessions, so that children can learn on their own, not to be fully micromanaged by their teachers. So I think education plays a very vital role, and it should be encouraged. That's why the Yara Foundation, we encourage bridging the digital gap. Especially, we are a child-focused organization, child protection. We have a child helpline, 0800-800-801, so that children can call for help. You never know the community resources available to you. You never know the right you have unless you go online. The world has since turned to a global village. We encourage every child to be a positive digital native.
Thank you. You've just led me right into the next question I was going to ask, and that was around protection. Knowing that technology, as you've said, exposes them to everything and everyone, transformative and sometimes, potentially abusive. And the learning platforms, if not properly designed, can tilt towards abuse or just, amplifying some vulnerabilities that lie. How might we support now two levels of people? How might we support the children, who use these platforms? What are we doing with protection for digital platforms for learners who used to learn? And how do we support people who are building to know some of the abuses and vulnerabilities that lie, and they can, when they're designing their solutions, they have that in mind and can try to navigate around them?
Okay, thank you for that. Yara has been a good advocate of online safety for children. We contributed to the national input and even the online bill that was passed. Number one, access barrier controls. Access barrier controls for children. Because there are many vices online, cyberbullying, cyber stalking, doxing, when somebody publishes your personal information, sextortions, radicalization, and all that. So when you have the access barrier controls, biometrics, data, there are apps that we do, okay, maybe when the children are online, the parents will have it on their phone, it will generate an alert that your child or somebody is trying, and all these games and all this animation. And for those building, there should be a designated government agency starting with the responsibility of online protection of children, and not the telcos or the service providers. They should come into agreement that once you see the publication or projection on your website or on your platform that is harmful to children, then you report at that very point in time. During our awareness prevention training programs, we push out trainings on what is called digital empathy, because oftentimes the child may be honestly browsing, maybe for their own work, to do research work, a pornographic site drops in or a terrorist website, and the child is intimidated and afraid to tell the parents or the caregivers. So we need to train parents and teachers and caregivers alike how to respond responsibly and how to be up to date with digital innovations. You'd be surprised of parents, apart from WhatsApp and accessing their mails, they don't know jack about what's going on. They don't know about...
And they are putting devices in the hands of their children.
Yes, because it's even affecting family relationships. Everybody comes up, that is busy on his phone, no one. And then teachers, that's why one-on-one interaction, that's why our advocates that we have morning meetings. Teachers have morning meetings with their students in class, not the general assembly. Everybody will come, sing the national anthem and go back, so that you get to know your students. Because oftentimes there are some students, the school is the only safe haven they have.
Sure.
They're afraid, maybe there's an older adult that's on all this dangerous website, they don't know who to talk about. Then teachers too should go for further peer-to-peer learning, exchange information, share experiences on what should be done. So that's what we advocate. And then to know the safe platforms and to assess all these controls. Because somebody may be there in the UK abusing your child here in Nigeria. There's what is called contactual and non-contactual child sexual abuse. So PTA should be empowered, because growing evidence has shown that the best approach to ensure protection for these children, transformative education, is when the school environment, the school authorities and the parents collaborate together effectively.
Thank you. And to the second question, do you think people who are building these solutions are well aware of all of what you've mentioned now and are designing their solutions with all of this in view?
I don't think so, because otherwise we won't have the deluge of cases, the high risk factors that these children are open to. That's why we said there should be a designated agency. We even have a lot of professionals online, because most psychologists, they know how to counsel children, school counselors. If you have a contactual sexual abuse, when it comes to non-contactual online, most of them appear blank, and it's often difficult to prove. So you go to somebody at high-tech personnel who can be able to deduct this. Even there are some games, some animated cartoons that kind of look
suggestive.
Yes, but they are really terrible if you take your time and analyze it. So where is it coming from? And what we need laws that will penalize anybody that this is when that have no profiling these solutions, but there are no back or no check balances. That's why I personally suggest that anybody profiling these solutions, they must put the UN broadband guidelines into check. In the versatile number of provisions there on the checks and balances on what should be done, what time of the day should this be made available. So if you're profiling solutions that children can access 12 midnight and the child sneaks out of the room and the parents are not aware, he or she is already abused, radicalized, brainwashed, and it's more difficult to repair than it is to prevent. So what are the solutions then? Reforming the school curriculum, the school calendar. We have a lot of AI. They have the computer ICT lectures coming on, but there must be deep-rooted guidelines on how this goes about, especially for parents who are not so literate. What can they look out for so as to protect their children? transformative education is key. Let us remove the structures. Let us remove the barriers. And it's fundamental to have a new mind reset so that gender disparity will be breached. It's possible if we put in the necessary efforts.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Bisi. And finally, a word of advice, to parents who have given devices to their children, to schools who have trusted devices in the hands of learners and have no idea how to use technology positively to push for gender transformative education. I'll give you an example where most times you hear teachers saying, don't worry, as a girl, I know you can't do this thing. Let the boys just do it. So what is your advice to parents and schools?
To teachers and to parents, your teaching career is not complete. Parents, your parenting, your parenthood is not complete. It's not successful if you cannot ensure child protection. So you need to augment your professionalism. Don't just dump your child into school. In this school, they are known for high grades in the common entrance and JAM and all that. No. What is the transformative education program of the school? Or you want to lock down your child with the same negative stereotypes, the structural power imbalance, the policies and all that, for your child to not carry it on to the next generation? No. You must be abreast of it. You can't give what you don't have. So if you are listening to this program, please do an inward check. You're a school proprietor, you're a school teacher. What are your policies on transformative education? It doesn't matter if the child is schooling in the suburbs or in the metropolis. Can they stand up to their classmates in the future? That self-confidence, that self-esteem, that power imbalance, has it been broken down? Or is it been attended to? So I think that's what we should look at, transformative education, so that the sustainable development goals can be attained.
Thank you so much. Now to you, our listeners, would love to hear from you. What are some of the ways you would like to be supported, to push for more gender transformative education? You've heard us talk today extensively on protection for children when they're on some of these platforms. How do you want to be supported? Are there ways that you've seen organizations or schools or solutions pushing positively for gender transformative education and are very big on data protection or just protection generally for the children? Would love to hear from you. Send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message to 0703 165 0809. You could also join our Telegram and our WhatsApp channels at EdTech Mondays Nigeria to continue the conversation. Thank you, Mrs. Bisi, for joining us today. It's been another amazing episode of the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show. Until I come your way, same time, same station next week, I remain your host, Chinyelu Akpa. Keep using technology to push the boundaries on education. It's bye for now.
EdTech Monday is proudly brought to you by Mastercard Foundation and CC Hub.